Welcome to Real Estate Radio Live, an informative and engaging podcast discussing everything you need to know about the world of real estate. Your host, Joe Cucchiara, provides you with insight and guidance on how to buy, sell, finance, and invest in real estate. He also offers real estate tax management strategies, new construction advice, home improvement tips, and much, much more. And now, to guide you around the world of real estate, here's your host and Real Estate Radio Live team leader, Joe Cucchiara.
Welcome in, Joe Cucchiara with Real Estate Radio Live. Thank you very much for those that are following us live on the Facebook feed. We appreciate that very much. We continue to try to grow the show in any different way we can. We hope that we are developers and believers and trying to be on the cutting edge of technology. So we always want to improve any type of way, increase avenues, vehicles that we could those that could follow the show. Of course, this is a podcast. Most of you know if you're familiar. If you're not, please download the podcast. That way you can listen to the show at your convenience when it's time for you. All the different places you get that, Stitcher, iTunes, just type in Real Estate Radio Live, or you could go to our website, of course, RERL-1576-Jeff.com. That's RERL-1576-Jeff.com. Most of you know the show is about education information. For almost 8 years now, the focus has been pretty clear. The objective for me is the guests that we have on the show, like I'll introduce in just a minute today, content information. We really thrive and really work hard to bring that content and information to you to make you a wise consumer when it comes to buying, selling, really in and around all aspects of real estate for sure. But also most of you know that the show, we've opened the box a little bit, and we're going to have some different guests and some different topics from time to time. So, again, appreciate the follows, appreciate the comments for those that not only download the podcast but contact us during the week as well. All right, let me introduce my guest, and it's going to be very exciting. I've been waiting to have Jeff on the show. Jeff Cohn, who is with the Elite Real Estate Services. He is going to be a lot of fun today. Let me tell you, this guy, if you look at his resume and you go to the website, and we'll talk about that too, how you could reach him in different ways. He has done everything and is involved in everything with real estate and even more. So welcome in, Jeff. How are you doing today?
Hey, Joe. I'm super excited. It's funny, for those that are watching on the video feed, Joe has a glass of water in front of him and then a glass of water in front of me. But too bad I'm on the other side of the world and can't take a drink.
How about a toast? Let's toast to Jeff.
Hey, let's do it, right? I don't know. You got 2 glasses of water. Hopefully you drink both of them today. Well, great to be here, though. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good to have you. Why don't we do this, Jeff? I'd love to, if you can, just take a minute or so and give our viewers and, of course, eventually our listeners, give us an idea of your background and then bring us up to date, what you're up to today, and give us kind of a summary of what you're involved in.
All right. So, 12 years ago, I graduated from college with a degree in business and decided to get my residential real estate license. I sold for 5 years, was doing really well, selling about 60 or 70 houses a year, and decided to build a team so I could scale it bigger. And over the last 7 years, I've taken my team from 70 to over 700 sales. Wow. For $140 million in gross volume and $3.2 million in gross commission income. I have a team of about 50 agents in Omaha's Elite Real Estate Group. And I was able to exit the day-to-day business about 4 years ago and focus on creating parallel businesses that my real estate team could feed. And so we had talked off air a little bit, Joe, but we started a title company, an insurance company. I now have a coaching company called Elite Real Estate Systems. We have a call center in the Philippines with 150 full-time virtual callers. And I have an investment company that invests in single-family and multifamily real estate in and around the Omaha area. We buy and sell about 100 houses a year.
Very good. That's outstanding. So what I'm going to do is, so if you're a consumer, if you're listening to the show, watching the show now on Facebook, you're going to be able to learn a lot from Jeff on what's going on in the market, how technology might be changing, a little bit about buying, selling, maybe strategies, good times, bad times. So if you're a consumer, you're definitely going to learn a lot. However, for those real estate agents that follow the show, please tune in, obviously. And if you're with us on Facebook now, listen, because this is a gentleman that has grown an empire and has done a lot of stuff, and I hear all the time real estate agents that are on the show are looking for ideas and ways, of growing their business and adding more and more value. And so this gentleman has accomplished these things. Jeff, let's ask you a little bit about kind of the industry in general, I should say the market. So, we live in Silicon Valley, which is it's like a whole different world. It's almost a different space for many different reasons. But if you could give us kind of a high-level view, 30,000 feet, the real estate market, how things have gone in 2018, What do you think this looks like in maybe in the next year or so?
I love this question. So I got into the business in 2006, and everyone was telling me we were just coming off of a great market and that the market was going to get worse, and it got a lot worse for anyone that was in the business. And I always ignored it. I didn't care. All that matters, because I'm doing such a small amount of business as an average over all the deals and all the things that are happening in the world, I needed to do 50 deals a year to feed my family. That's all I cared about. So independent of what market you're in, don't make an excuse why you can or cannot go big. You can be successful no matter what. And if anything, I'd rather see us in a buyer's market. So the world talks about it being a good market right now, and I'd argue it's not a good market if you're a realtor. I think agents can make more money in a buyer's market versus a seller's market, and I can get into that if you'd like me to later. But in terms of where the market's going, it's definitely still a seller's market, and it's going into more of a neutral market. Everything's softening, and I'm in all sorts of masterminds with agents across the country, and everybody's feeling it in a different way than we felt it 12 months ago at the same time. I don't expect doom and gloom. I think rates will continue to climb, and I do think the housing market's going to soften up.
Yeah, that's great. And I love, by the way, I want to just piggyback on what Jeff said. I absolutely love that philosophy, and I couldn't agree with him more. So if you're a real estate agent, loan officer, anybody in this business that I've been, all of us are in this, and it's amazing how just the little tweaks in the market, so many people spend so much time talking about the negatives and the potential, what ifs, what happens, and that does nothing but paralyze people. And so I just love what you said. I mean, there's a segment of your business, if you just focus on what you have control over and don't let these distractions bring you down, there's a lot of success out there for everyone.
Well, yeah. And from an investment standpoint, I mean, you buy low, sell high. If it's about 30% of market value today, if tomorrow the market value goes down 30%, then I'll just buy 30% below that new market value.
Yeah.
So you want to be able to make sure you cover your debt obligation, make sure your cash flowing really well. That's one of the nice things about investing in the Midwest. We don't see huge shifts. So like in 2009, with the worst depreciation ever, it was a 7% depreciation here. I'm guessing in the Bay Area, you saw more like 50%,
right?
60%.
Right. No, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about technology from two perspectives. How do you see technology changing real estate? And this is really a two-pronged question. One, what should the consumer be looking for, and how could that improve the consumer experience with technology, if any? And two, then we'll talk a little bit how it will affect the real estate agent and that in the industry.
Okay. So from a consumer standpoint, it's already completely changed the landscape of real estate. Early 2000s, real estate agents owned essentially, literally they had books with the pictures of the houses, right? And then the internet came to be, and I don't know what the first year was where they started doing IDX syndication with the MLS, where they'd share pictures. But when I got into the business, you could only post, in 2006, you could only post 10 pictures of the house onto our MLS. You could post more on your personal website, but if you wanted it to syndicate on the MLS, only 10 pictures, and then it went to 20 pictures, and now it's probably 100 pictures, I don't know. And now there's virtual tour links. So where it's changed is you can buy Google Cardboard for $15, and you put your cell phone in it, and you can literally tour houses that have used the Matterport technology or, the spin technology that goes in and does like Google Street View inside a house. So the consumer is going to be able to make better decisions on which homes they want to physically tour after looking at the home's pictures and or video and or virtual tour. And I think that that's a huge time savings for the consumer, helps them narrow down the houses. So most of our buyers that we work with, they'll have looked at over 100 houses online with or without us prior to going out and looking at homes in person. So when my agent goes out and shows, we only show houses, we only average 6 showings before a buyer goes under contract. And so it's really interesting to me because the buyers looked at 106 houses, but they only had to physically go to 6. And then out of those 6, they usually can make a buying decision.
Right. Yeah. So obviously, I mean, my take too is, and I study this stuff all the time, I think it's well documented. I don't know, 95, 96% of people start their search online. However, nearly 90% of people, when they decide to buy or sell, they still want to use a qualified real estate agent. So I think that most people still want to use a qualified, quality realtor. But the things that also change is the price compression and the expectations of the consumer, right? Not only technology is, now that they have access to all this information, Jeff, they're going to be asking more questions and they're going to demand more.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, one of the other things I wanted to mention, Joe, in terms of technology is the contract to close process. There's agents still today that use paper contracts, and some states might require this. But in our state, we can do everything electronically. So an agent that wants to be forward thinking and, accept the fact that things are constantly changing, the new consumer is going to demand that they don't have to sign a paper document and wait to be emailed or scan emailed or whatever copies of that. So we can execute a document, both a listing agreement or exclusive buyer agency agreement or a fully executed contract right there at the table at the house, and then be able to send everybody, including the lender, the title company, the office admin, both sides of the transactions, agents and clients, copies. And we just do all of that. We used to use DocuSign. Today we were using Dotloop for that.
Got it. Okay. What are your thoughts about, there's several models out there. There's Open Door, there's Really, there's, a number. I could go on. And then, of course,
Yep.
Zillow's going to get into every conceivable business, and everybody knew that. So it's funny when people get upset about Zillow. I'm thinking, well, are you not kidding? Didn't you not know this was going to happen?
I've got my answer on this one, Joe. There's lots of different types of cars out there.
Yeah.
But everybody can name the cars that are nice, and everybody can name the cars that aren't. You get what you pay for. And if you're selling $1 million asset, you probably want to make sure you're hiring someone that knows what they're doing, because it can be the difference of hundreds of thousands of dollars. When I meet with a seller and they'll say to me, hey, there's this competing brokerage model that's only going to charge me X amount, and that X amount's half the commission I charge, which I charge 7% in my marketplace for a 12-month listing. And I'll always say to people, hey, if your goal is to save money, just put a for sale by owner sign in the yard. I think I'm here because you believe that with me, even though you're going to pay me a fee, I'm going to net you more money in less time with more energy. So if you're an LO or you're a real estate agent and you're wondering why people aren't using you and they're going with the competition and you think it's because of commission, you're wrong. It's because you can't show your value.
I love it.
So you need to have a professional presentation that you can take with you on both a buyer presentation and a seller presentation to show them why they should hire you and why they should pay you, just like any other professional in any other industry that's trying to win somebody's business. And people will pay you 7% all day if you can show them that 7% with you is going to net them more than $1,000 flat fee with your competition.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. That's quite well said. And we'll get into the second segment of the show. Jeff, we'll get into a little bit about your coaching program and the lives that you've changed in the real estate business as well. Let's talk a little bit about now, again, on the technology side. If you're a real estate agent, either just starting or maybe someone that's been in the business 20 years, and I'll give you a couple of, kind of hypotheticals. So you got a real estate agent that, Joe, I'm not going to change anything. I've been doing this the way, I've been, conducting my business the same way. I'm not going to change. My clients love me. What do you say to a real estate agent like that?
If you're not going to change, you're never going to have change.
Okay.
I mean, that's plain and simple. So if they're making $100,000 a year and they're happy and they're working their sphere of influence and deals drop in their lap, and that's been what's happening the last 10 years, that'll probably continue happening for them with their sphere of influence.
Right.
But for me personally in my life, I'm bored if I'm staying stagnant. I'm always wanting to grow. I've heard a lot of agents say, oh, I don't work internet leads, or I don't do outbound prospecting. I'll just work my sphere. And that's great. The problem is you're the one doing the work. And so my big belief is agents should stop selling real estate and start focusing on building a business that can scale without them. There's a lot I just said there, and a lot of people don't listen to every single word there, but I want to build an entity that can grow without me being necessary. And there's 99.9% of residential agents have yet to do that. And that's what our coaching company teaches them to accomplish.
Very good. What do you think the real estate model, I'll say the last kind of part of this is, traditionally you have these, mega offices with huge overhead and, several hundred agents in an office where sometimes you walk in, you're lucky if you see 3 or 4. Do you think that model is going to continue, or these people are going to get smarter about the way they're spending their money? And when I say these people, real estate companies, how do they manage their overhead liabilities? How do you see that piece of it?
I love answering this question, and you asked that question earlier. I think that the commercial space over the next 15 years should watch out, because I think a lot of millennials and Y and Z Gen don't want to go to physical spaces any longer. I mean, there's a need for certain things like going and eating food.
Sure.
But the shopping centers that you see, places with office space where that office solution could become a virtual solution, that is the future. Every brokerage in America should have a virtual option. Everyone should be able to attend office meetings virtually via live stream or Facebook Live. They shouldn't have to come in. Accountability meetings should be done virtually and have the option of, going and meeting with your accountability coach virtually. Contracts should be executed virtually. Listing presentations, buyer presentations. There has to be a virtual option, and I'm not saying everyone needs to adopt it, but for the next 5 to 10 years, we'll see hybrids, and then we'll see, I think, a majority of brokerages in America will have to either convert or go away. And you hear about EXP right now. EXP is the first one that's really gotten a lot of attention. They have over 12,000 agents and they don't have a brick and mortar. It's all virtual. Mm-hmm. I don't think the consumer demands a real estate office. The consumer demands great service, and the office isn't necessary to be able to provide that. There are valuable advantages to having an office space. I have 3,200 square feet that I bring people into, and we have culture building activities and trainings, etc. But I give all of my agents the option to watch and attend all of those same meetings virtually, so they don't have to physically go to the office.
Well said. Very good. Before we take our quick break, I know that you also have a business that flips houses. You know, we have a large group of investors that follow the show that are either seasoned investors, have been doing it for a long time, or people just getting started. Jeff's saying, you know, how do I get started? Is there a market? You know, where should I be? Give us your idea kind of on investors, put your investor's hat on, a flipper's hat, or just someone that wants to, you know, maybe not necessarily flip, but buy and hold.
Sure. It's a great question. You know, it's like asking, how do you get started in the stock market? What should you invest in? So a lot of times people will hire a professional who probably has no money in their bank account to give them advice. And I think it's the same thing with someone hiring a real estate agent that might not be able to provide good advice. So if you hire an agent that's going to represent you on investing, make sure they have investment properties. Yeah. Make sure they have done the thing they're helping you do. Otherwise, you can imagine what type of results you'll have. I'd first recommend listen to probably 50 hours of podcasts, buy and read 5 or 10 different books, meet with other investors in your own local market to learn what they're doing, what's working well for them. But for me personally, I had to start somewhere. So just buy something. Even if you lose money, and I know you don't want to probably lose, but just by starting and doing your first one, it'll give you the confidence to move into your second and your third and your fourth and so on. By not using an agent, you'll essentially put yourself in a position where you can look for product that's off market. Mm-hmm. Agents only are going to probably spend their time looking at homes that are on the MLS. Well, there's hundreds, if not thousands of other investors on the MLS. So take your time on Craigslist every day, sift through the Craigslist houses. Go to the neighborhoods where you want to buy a house, literally knock the doors, ask people if they want to sell their house. Use a virtual assistant or an internal sales agent, or you yourself pick up a phone and make outbound dials to the areas that you want to buy in. Because hopefully you'll find people that have never been hit up by someone else in the past, and you'll be able to find some good opportunities.
Very good. Thank you. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take just a real quick 1-minute break for those that are following us on the Facebook live feed. Stick with us, and we're just going to one quick minute break, and we're going to be back. We're talking to Jeff Cohen. He is with the Elite Real Estate Systems. And when we come back, well, I'm going to jump in and talk to Jeff more about his businesses, the real estate, the coaching, and much, much more. Stick with us. We'll be back in just a minute.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com.
Getting ready to buy or sell a home in 30, 60, or 90 days? Check out BundleSelect.com to find out how you could save 20% or more on your entire transaction, real estate, lending, and title. With BundleSelect.com, technology and a personal concierge are at your service to save you time and money. BundleSelect's hand-picked team of experts will compete for your business, so you'll save thousands of dollars by bundling real estate, lending, and title services. BundleSelect.com gives you all the control, including using your own realtor. I'm Joe Cucchiara with Real Estate Radio Live, and I have been on the radio educating consumers for years. I'm here to tell you BundleSelect.com is the best way to save money on real estate. By bundling services, you could save tens of thousands of dollars. This savings model could save you money on your move, lower your interest rate, or cover your closing costs. Visit BundleSelect.com. That's BundleSelect.com.
The estimated minimum savings are based on a comparison with the national average. Individual results may vary, and the estimated savings are not guaranteed. Bundle Select Inc. is a licensed real estate broker. California Bureau of Real Estate Broker License Number 004666902.
Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's topic or guests, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Joe Cucchiara.
Welcome back in. Joe Cucchiara with Real Estate Radio Live. Thank you again for those that are following us on Facebook. We appreciate that very much. We continue to grow that audience, and it's important. That's one of the reasons, just real quickly, I'll explain. We try to do the show right about 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, really just in an effort to grow the live audience on Facebook. We continue to do that. So thank you very much for those that continue to do that and share the information about our show. Today we have given us a call live is Jeff Cohn. He is a real estate expert in many different areas. He is with Elite Real Estate Systems. And the first segment we talked a little bit about kind of the market, technology, how it may be affecting real estate, and also the consumer side. Jeff touched a little bit on if you're an investor out there, some of the things to do, especially if you get started. And now we're going to jump in and talk a little bit more about the different businesses and a lot of the success that Jeff has had. Now, Jeff, we have a lot of real estate agents, industry in general, that follow the show. So talk a little bit about, I mean, you've had an extreme amount of success. Just there's so much that goes into that, but a lot of people like to hear the stories, the examples, the whatever may trigger them. We all know how this works, right? We all know that hundreds and thousands of millions of people pay all kinds of money every year to attend multiple conventions and conferences and all kinds of different things. And it's no knock on them, but you know, the statistics bear out that, you know, very few people come back from those or implement anything they learn. So first tell me about your mindset. I want to get into to explain what is your mindset and what separates someone like yourself that, like everybody else that has tried or wanted to do the same thing that you've done, and especially in a short period of time.
Well, I think you nailed it, Joe. I think that there's three camps of people, and there's one camp that works real well. The first camp is the individual who wants to obtain as much knowledge as possible. Mm-hmm. They bounce between books and podcasts and events, and they get all jacked up and excited, but they don't implement anything. The second camp is the person that constantly is implementing and banging their head against a wall, and they can't seem to figure out how to get it right. Mm-hmm. And the third camp, and the person to watch out for, is the one that goes out and they get all the knowledge, and then they apply it and they fail. They figure it out, then they go back to get more knowledge because every time you solve a problem, you have 10 new problems. And they continue doing that over and over and over again. And I used to judge myself by comparing myself to everyone around me, both people that had lived 30 years longer than me and people that have lived 30 years shorter than me. Mm-hmm. And what I've realized is that the only person you compete against is yourself. Right. And every single day, if you can be a better version of yourself in every area of your life, your physical health, your mental health, your business, your relationship with your significant other, your relationship with your kids, etc. You can be a better version every single day. Your life will always improve. You'll always be happy. Everything will always be new. And that was my mindset at a very young age. So what I chose to do is when I got into real estate, I interviewed all the top agents in my own market and asked them if they were 23 years old, how would they have done things differently? Surprisingly, instead of giving me advice on how to sell, they all told me to invest in real estate, which was good advice. And then once I knew I wanted to build the team and make it, I wanted to be the number one team in Nebraska within 10 years, and we did it in 7. I knew that at that point, I needed to learn from a national audience, and I started going out and visiting brick and mortar offices across the country. I went to over 50 offices and learned from the top 100 agents in the United States how they failed forward, the systems that they had built, and then I was able to come back to Omaha and implement the things that I loved and get rid of the things that I didn't. And I was able to exit the business within 2 years of launching my team, and then be able to start the coaching business. And my passion's in inspiring and motivating people, probably just like you, Joe, and helping show people the path that I was willing to take. And we give people Jeff's free business plan. If you go out to our website, just go to eliterealestatesystems.com, or you can go to jeffsfreegift.com. Okay. And those links will give you access to our PDF. You just give us your email address and we'll send you podcast episodes and stuff like that. But we'll get you access to that if anybody's interested. Yeah, no, that's great. We'll give that out, too, before we cut out again. You know, one of the things I want to touch on, Jeff, is, you know, a little bit what you just talked about now. And I've been through this. I've had a couple of businesses. I've been successful in a number of different things, including the mortgage business. But one of the things that I found interesting, and still to this day, and I've grown to learn, and I share with people now, too, is you hear this, you know, just find your passion and the rest will take care of itself. Or just find something you love and you'll be successful. The thing that people don't tell you beyond that is true, right? If you find something you love and you're passionate about, that is true. You have a better chance. But you still have to work. You still have to put effort in. And believe me, there could be days, weeks, months that you're doing things that aren't that fun and aren't that exciting, but you know the end game and you're focused on something that you're going to accomplish. Talk a little bit about that. Yeah, so let's use right now as an example. It's 5 p.m. My family all just went to see a movie. My brother's family's in town, and I had the option of going with them. Instead of doing that, I chose to get on a podcast with Joe, who I don't know, because I believed I'd be able to bring value to people across the country, maybe monetize it in some way by getting people to listen to my podcast or join my coaching company. But there has to be a burning desire, and I guess you have to be willing. There has to be something within you that says, I'm willing to sacrifice almost anything to have a certain outcome. I think the biggest challenge for people, Joe, and can correct me if you think I'm wrong, is that people don't know why they're working hard. They don't know why they're waking up in the morning. They don't know why they're going to work. They haven't defined like what they want out of life. And that's okay. Everyone's on the journey to kind of figure it out. But I would suggest, and I would challenge the listeners tonight, it's November. New Year's is close around the corner. Think about maybe possibly setting some goals in 5 key areas of your life. And earlier I talked about physical health, mental health, charitable contributions, spirituality, and personal relationships. And you hear there, I didn't mention business in those goals because what I found is that if you have people that are well-rounded in those areas, usually whatever they touch turns to gold because people are attracted to people that are happy. People are attracted to people that are successful. Right. And that success, I think, is attracted to you when you feel like you're having success. But success is the perception. You know, if you think you're successful or if you don't is really just how you think of yourself. And I think so often I talked about how we compare ourselves to others. So often people don't think they're successful because they see someone post something on Facebook like they're standing in a Lear jet. And so now I feel like I'm not successful because this guy got a picture with his dad's brother's cousin in a Lear jet. So he must be more successful than me. And that's why I said just compete against yourself every day. Yeah. And if you're losing against yourself, you need to make some changes. We are so hard on ourselves. Yeah. Like we all have like this whole life ahead of us. Like calm down, take a step-by-step process, do what you want to do every single day. And in time, you'll have a successful empire like Joe or like myself or like other people that you know. Just be patient. It doesn't happen overnight. This has taken me 12 years to be where I am today.
Well, no, that's another good point. Before we finalize a couple of things, I want to just add to what Jeff said. You know, everybody gets excited about Amazon and Uber and all these other, you know, you going on Microsoft. But when you really get excited about, just look back and do a little homework and history lesson to find out, you know, how long ago they started that company, how many years they lost money, how many years people looked at them and laughed, but they kept going. And you could spend the rest of your life studying and reading examples of people, whether it's small entrepreneurs or large businesses. It doesn't happen overnight. It's very rare, right? I mean,
here's something else, Joe. Like people talk constantly about these huge companies and these amazing inventions. And I'll hear people talk about like, how do I start the next Tesla or how do I do an Uber? I'm like, you need to just focus on how to do something you already know that exists that you're passionate about and just do it a little better than everybody else and you can be a millionaire. I think people think it's too hard to obtain. And so like one example is in real estate in Omaha, Nebraska. If you sell 36 houses, you make $100,000 net profit. Wow. Well, what happens if you sell 360 houses? Is that $1 million? Heck yeah, it's $1 million. I know a ton of agents that make over $1 million a year. They don't even have to do nearly that many transactions. And your market is probably under 100. Oh. And that's doable. That's obtainable. But people, I think, they think it's too hard or it's too far out of reach. And so they just choose to do nothing rather than make change.
Yeah. Well, we got a couple minutes left. What I want to do is focus kind of as we close this out and finish strong is talk a little bit about your coaching business, the agents, the people that you've helped. Because, again, we have a lot of agents that follow the show, and I think it'd be very interested. So, again, give out your website and how people could reach you, and then we'll dive into that.
So here was the idea. I had expansion teams in 2016. I had a team in San Diego. San Diego's a lead real estate group. Yeah. I was in Boston. I was in Salt Lake City. And I was in Lincoln, Nebraska. And we were upset that it didn't scale fast enough. All the locations were successful, and we sold all of them to the people that were running them. Okay. And we sold them because we wanted to exude change in tens of thousands of agents rather than just 10 or 15 key people that we picked out across the country. And so we started our coaching business, EliteRealEstateSystems.com. You can go out there. We have several products. The main one is our live stream coaching product. So we call it Modern Coaching for the Modern Agent. It's $497 a month today. As of January 1st, that price is going to double. So if you join within the next month before the end of the year, you'll lock in forever at the $497. What that gives you is 4 hours of coaching every month in a group coaching session, where we teach a different topic for 1 hour, and then we do 30 minutes of Q&A when that topic's done. Similar to the call we're on right now, but we'll have everyone that's in our product is on a Zoom call together. Great. In addition to that, we have 2 additional hours each week for all of your agents to plug into. So you can have unlimited seats. So if you're a team leader, you have unlimited seats for your individual agent training, and then you get the high level. If you just wanted to come on for the individual agent training, that's only $17 a month for 8 hours of content a month. Right. And that price is going to be 5Xing come next year. It's going to go up to $97. So you could grandfather in to that as well. And then we also host
Go ahead.
We host workshops regionally and in Omaha. So if you go on our site, you can click on events. We have one coming up in Miami, January 15th. We have Vegas in March. We have Charleston in April. And the team building workshop is a 12-hour immersive day where we talk about culture, lead gen, lead conversion, accountability, and systems and strategies necessary to scaling a business. If you want to see some of the technology and software companies that we're currently partnered with to help us build our business and our brand in Omaha, which we've been running the #1 team for the last 5 years. We're #2 at Berkshire Hathaway in the entire world. Go to jeffsfavoritetools.com. If you jump down any of those links, you'll actually get a discount if you ended up joining any of those companies.
Great. Wonderful. The last thing here is for those listening to the show, again, on the real estate side or coaching, you're looking for coaching, that type of service, he just explained to you. The one thing that most people know in this business is less than 10% of people do 90% of the business, #1. And I always tell people, Jeff, when they're thinking about getting in the real estate or mortgage industry, Joe, should I really do this? Is there a chance? And I always say same thing, absolutely yes, because here's the good news. Very few people treat this like a business and do what they're supposed to. So there is all kinds of room. Jump in. The water's fine.
Agreed. Very few treat it like a job.
That's a good point. Actually, that's true.
They're not even treating it like a job, let alone a business.
Wow, that's great.
I agree 100%, man. Anybody listening thinking, should I do it? Should I not do it? Do it. Anytime you make a choice to do something, you never lose, even if you do.
Great.
I tell people all the time, like, this is another mindset thing with looking for flip properties. Mm-hmm. Instead of focusing on, I want to find one person that says I can meet with them every 100 calls, focus on getting 100 people to say no. Sometimes focus on getting the negative, because then when the positive comes, it's a surprise.
Yeah.
So we know our numbers back and forth. We know we need to make 150 outbound calls for one executed contract.
Got it.
My agents spend a lot of time making calls and touching base with past clients and prospecting for new clients. It just becomes a numbers game.
Very good. Before we cut out, again, one more time, anybody wants to reach you about coaching or all the products and services, what's the best place to go? And
so you guys can jump on a demo call. We'd love to have we call them strategy calls. It's a 1-hour call, one-on-one with our success coach, Melissa Bolt, and you can find that information and schedule a call with her right from EliteRealEstateSystems.com. You can join our podcast right from there. You can get my business plan. You can see all of our upcoming events, and you can learn more about live stream and our workshop right from that page.
Great. Hey, Jeff, thanks for your time and all the energy and even more so the knowledge and wisdom that we spent the last 30 minutes. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me on. Thank you. Great questions, Joe.
All right. Take care of yourself. We'll hopefully have you on here in the near future.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Take care, Jeff. Joe Cucchiara with Real Estate Radio Live. What a great interview. What a great guy. Jeff Cohn, again, for more information, Elite Real Estate Systems. And there's so much you could learn. #1, if you're a consumer, to find out more. You heard about the knowledge, the background, what's going on. But, again, if you're a real estate agent out there and someone in the industry, you're struggling or you're trying to figure out how to take it to the next level, there's another idea as well. Thanks again for those who are tuning in. Thank you again for those that are following us live on Facebook. We appreciate that. For more information, you could always go to RERadiolive.com. Until next time, have a great afternoon. Take care.
You've been listening to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Subscribe to our podcast. Discover more at RERadiolive.com.